Hello and welcome to Perspectives. My name is David Schoneman and I'm your host on this program. We're in the studio today on December 2nd, 2024. We're now almost a month following the historic election of Donald Trump. You got 312 electoral votes. You got the majority of the popular vote. It was a landslide, a historic landslide. And it really follows in the wake of a historically bad Biden presidency. And so there's a lot to talk about as we transition from really what could be said the dark ages into a new beginning where, as Trump would say, he wants to make America great again. I'm here in the studio once again with my friend Dave Narkunas. This is our third in a row segment. There's just so much to talk about. Dave was a candidate for state rep in Ward 4 here in Nashua. He didn't make it, but he still has a lot of insight into what's going on. And now we're going to be talking about national things, not just state and local things, but national things. Dave, welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me again.
Sure thing.
And I could not be more happy, as a lot of my friends as well could not be more excited to see the potential, the future. To say this phraseologies of Kamala Harris, it's like,
yes.
what could be? No, we're actually going to dominate now. This is something that is so important that the fact that we won was, it was the harbinger of a new age.
A new age for America.
Coming to us.
It really is. Let's take a look just for a second. We have a lot of things we want to get into, but we talk about, I mentioned just the disastrous presidency of Joe Biden. And today is December 2nd. We've had a lot of disastrous news in the last couple of days. And that's the Hunter Biden part. Yeah. What a disgrace for this president who assured the American people, he promised, and he received accolades from a lot of people on the left and the right because he wasn't going to pardon his son. And in the end, he's done it. And he deceived people, he lied to people, and he's proving that there really is, or are at least two different justice systems. There's the one for all of us.
There's rules for thee, but not for me.
Right, and there's the one for, in this case, the Democrat.
I call it the DDS, the Democrat double standard.
Yeah.
And it's so ostensible, it's so palpable, it's so obvious and so clear that you can say that whatever comes out of their mouths, these people in politics, Democrat at the highest level, they lie through their teeth. Whatever they say, the truth is more likely than not the exact opposite. Yeah. And are you shocked, Dave?
I'm not shocked.
Are you really?
I'm not shocked.
I mean, I never would have seen this coming. Yeah, get real.
Well, you know, Trump said a few weeks ago, he said, when he was asked in an interview, maybe it was a few months ago, certainly before the election, he said, what do you think Biden's going to do about Hunter? And Trump said, well, in the end, I think the dad is going to pardon the son.
Yeah.
And that was an early prediction. And once again, you see that Trump is right. And he was right in this prediction. And other people predicted it too. But I don't think anyone's surprised. But we see what's happening with Trump's popularity or his approval rating through polls. It continues to rise.
It is rising. It is rising.
And you see Biden's, it's going down even further. And I think it's going to go down. Next time they do a poll on Biden's current approval rating, I think we're going to see a further decline in that. But this pardon is just terrible. And you're right, Joe Biden lied about it. And whatever he says is false. Now, he's protecting his son. He lost one son. That's a tragedy.
That happened. Right.
You know, that's definitely a tragedy. But he's proving that there are at least two levels of justice in this country. He went after Trump falsely, and now he's pardoning his son. And it's interesting, too.
He absolutely just weaponized the Department of Justice against a former president.
That's right.
And it was just clear as day to see what was going on. Unless you have some kind of frontal lobe disorder where your rational thinking processes are disrupted, you have to, it's easy to see. This is a travesty. You can't do that to someone everyone knows he was innocent.
Yeah.
And they just were looking
Trump was innocent.
Trump was innocent.
Yes. And everyone knows that Hunter Biden is guilty.
Every little stupid thing. And then all the stuff that they were accusing Trump of doing, Biden did. Except he was not even he wasn't exempt.
Right.
He was vice president. He didn't have the ability to say, "Oh, I can just hold on to these documents in my garage."
Right.
No, you don't have the right.
No, you don't.
And you totally broke the law, and you're totally guilty, and it's prima facie guilty, and you are not going to be in trouble because the Democrat double standard.
That's right.
And that's
well, Hunter Biden. I just read a little article in the New York Times. He was facing up to 17 years for his conviction and for his guilty plea on gun violations and tax fraud. They also said he'd likely not have faced more than 36 months, but he's pardoned, so now he's not going to face anything, would be my understanding. And I think that the pardon, too, is a broad pardon. I don't think it applies to just this. It applies to a wide...
blanket.
It's a blanket pardon.
It's a big blanket pardon. Yeah.
Because he's guilty of other things. I think it's obviously guilty. He's obviously guilty of other things, and that's the influence peddling, which is, I think, a much more serious offense than the gun offense. I mean, gun offense is serious. Gun offense or the tax offense.
IRS, tax.
Right. But he was guilty of influence peddling, and that's what enriched the Biden family. So Joe Biden was part of that. Certainly Hunter Biden was part of that. Joe Biden's brother was part of that. Probably Jill was part of that. Everyone seems to be part of this Biden family.
It's the crime family. The Biden crime family. There's a reason they're calling it that, Dave.
They are. It's not ours. That's not what we're not making that up.
You didn't make it up?
Nope. It's a Biden crime family. And so he's given a sweeping pardon to Hunter Biden, which really will exonerate himself, because if Hunter Biden is not going to be guilty or can't be charged or prosecuted for influence peddling, then who's going to go after?
This is as bad. Like if he can't be charged,
right,
and get
the rest of the family,
then everyone else is exonerated.
Yeah.
You know, by default, it's like, well,
right.
If you can't get this guy, then
right.
It
gives hands off really to everybody else. So I think that anyone who voted, we're curious to know, anyone who voted for Biden or voted for Harris based on Biden's endorsement and thought there was some integrity there that is better than Trump's integrity, I wonder when they see this pardon what they would say. Is there any buyer's remorse if you voted for Harris and or Biden, and now you see this is how they really behave when the time comes? But I think we know what the answer to that is, and that's why we're seeing the polls for Trump continue to go up and the polls for Biden continue to go down.
They're climbing.
So I think a lot of people who voted, probably Biden got more, or Harris got more votes than Biden's popularity would indicate. If Biden's approval rating is 35%, she got more than 35% of the vote. So I would think that as time goes on, we're going to see those lines trend down. I think the popularity of Biden will continue to go down. You mentioned the Attorney General and weaponizing the Department of Justice. We had Matt Gaetz nominated for Attorney General first, and he's since dropped out of the race, but Trump has now brought in Pam Bondi. And with this appointment and with some other appointments, he's signaling, I think, a radical new beginning for America. Let's talk about Pam Bondi for a second. MSNBC, this guy Jason Johnson, he's a contributor on MSNBC, and he said, quote, "She is dangerous. She's a dangerous and effective pick. And the left should," in quotes, "fear." The left should fear this pick, should fear Pam Bondi because, quote, "she's competent." I think that Washington is not used to having competent people in some of these roles. And now here's someone coming in who's competent. So what's going to happen with the Department of Justice, do you think?
Well, cleaning house. Cleaning house.
Yeah.
So Pam's obviously very competent. And if you are, the way I look at it, if the left is afraid of someone, they're on the right track.
Yeah, exactly.
They're competent and they're strong, and they are going to stand up for what the values are that should be put forward for our society.
They're going to stand for the Constitution, for one thing.
You know me so well. Yeah, that's one of the main things.
Yes.
I always will always fall back on. What do you stand for, David? I will vote for the Constitution. I will vote for what's right. I think states should have rights, and it's very clear that anyone that doesn't support the Constitution or tries to subvert it they're the enemy within. They're the
Yeah.
enemy within. And there are people in this country, unfortunately, that have that sentiment, and that's what we have to stop. That we have to find it, identify it, and nip it in the bud.
Yeah, I think years ago the Constitution was followed much more closely, and I think whether a Supreme Court justice, for instance, was appointed by someone, a Democrat president or a Republican president, the assumption was that when they're in there, they're following the Constitution. And I think we saw a movement away from that, particularly with, we touched last time on Roe v. Wade. When Roe v. Wade, when that case went through the Supreme Court back in the 70s, I think that was certain justices taking a liberal view, not a left, not a Democrat view of the Constitution, but a liberal view, which says that the Constitution is a living document and it can be interpreted and it has some flexibility. So they found something in there that really isn't in there. So all that happened with the reversal of Roe v. Wade is that we said, no, that's not in the Constitution. It belongs with the states. So all they did was reverse the bad decision that was made in the 70s. But we saw
it belongs to the states to begin with.
Yeah.
It should have been.
It should have been.
States are supreme, and people don't understand that.
Right.
We do have our federal legislation, and everything except for that is reserved for the states.
That's right.
And people don't. Everything should be, envisioned in a giant dome like that. No, the states are supreme, and
yes.
I don't think that people really give enough attention to the power that the states should have.
Yes.
They really. It's one of the most.
Right, we are the United States, so the states are supposed to be independently thinking, and I think Trump is going to move us back that direction with his court picks. Because
I hope so.
In my lifetime, I mean, I was in high school in the 1970s when Roe v. Wade passed. In that time, from then until now, we've moved progressively. Look at that word, progressively.
Well, yeah.
With less and less reliance on the Constitution and more reliance on politics in these big decisions. But now I think we're heading back the other direction. So I think Pam Bondi, as one of the picks, one of Trump's cabinet picks, is going to be moving us.
She's known as tough as nails.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting.
Let's hope so.
Jason Johnson says that, hey, if you're on the left, like me, he's saying about himself, we should be afraid because she's competent. So he didn't say that the left should be afraid because she's radical or because she's an extremist. No, they should be afraid, he says, a left guy, because she's competent. They just don't want someone competent in these roles.
That seems to be a motif that I'm hearing. That's rolling forth. Like, oh, you nominated this person. Yeah, they're very competent. Oh, dear Lord.
What are we going to do
nominating,
now? Yeah.
The humanity, you're nominating really competent people.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Like, when I look at this cabinet that was picked at the speed of light, I might say, at the speed of light. Trump has picked the equivalent of the 1992 Olympic basketball team, like
the best,
the best of the best, like Larry Bird, Magic, like the best of the best.
Yeah, he's not trying to find someone that's not quite as smart as him so that he can have the limelight. He wants people that are smarter, better, everything. I mean, the best of the best to be in these roles.
The thing that most people don't know is that Trump didn't take a paycheck. He's not. I'm assuming he's not taking a paycheck again.
I don't know.
And then Vivek's not taking a paycheck. And then Elon's not taking a paycheck. They do this because they want America to be great again.
Yeah.
They literally are not taking a single cent. They don't need it. We're already rich. Yep. And they go, we just want America back.
Yeah. Well, he is putting together a great team. You mentioned two more names, Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk. And those guys are going to be going after fraud and waste among the various administrations in the federal government, and not administrations, various departments in the federal government. And I think they're going to uncover a lot. Musk famously, prior to the election, in one of the rallies, says he could find $2 trillion.
I think they're going to find it. I think they're going to find it in the first month.
Yeah.
I think they're going to find $2 trillion in the first month. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
And they're going to even keep finding more.
Yeah.
I think they're going to find more. My guess is in 6 months, they're going to find like 5 or 6 trillion in 6 months.
That's phenomenal.
That's what I predict.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's Department of Education.
Yeah.
Got this, got that, got that. And
these things belong in the states too, or belong under local control. We don't need to have Department of Education in Washington. What do they really do? The money that they're sending doesn't really go to the students, and the policies that they're trying to enforce don't really benefit the students. So I think parents around the country, voters around the country, again, we get back to that landslide victory. People woke up really during the 4 atrocious years of the Biden-Harris administration to some of the reality of what's going on in Washington, and they voted for change, and Trump is bringing that change. I think it's going to be good. Let's talk about some of the other people that he's brought in. The border czar, Tom Homan.
Tom, he is ruthless. He is ruthless. The funniest quote I've ever heard was regarding Tom Hogan is that Homan. Sorry, he is so terrifying. I'm, in the words of Greg Gutfeld, I'm an American citizen, and I'm afraid of being deported by this guy, and I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
So that's a really...
He's going to go after it, and
he's already ice. He already...
Yeah, he's definitely making moves. And you see that some of the Democrat mayors and governors too around the country are saying, "Well, you're gonna come over you have to get through me." That's what what's his name in Illinois said, Pritzker. He said, "If you want to get to these people, you got to get through me." Well, Tom Homan says, "Well,
if I have to put you in jail,
don't tempt us.
If I have to put you in jail, I'm going to have to put you in jail."
Especially if someone says, "Well, you got to put me in jail first if you want to get to those people." He'll say, "Yeah, I'll accommodate you if that's what you want." Because when a mayor or a governor harbors these people, they are breaking the law. That person harboring these people is breaking the law. And everyone got a pass during the Biden administration. The laws were not enforced. You see the chaos that's erupted in cities across the country on low level or high level. But Tom Homan, and I think Donald Trump too, are saying that if you're going to be breaking the law by harboring illegal aliens, then you're going to be in trouble too. And again, the American people voted in this direction. That's what they want.
The whole thing is people voted for accountability now.
Yeah.
They want, you want to do this? You're going to go to jail.
Right.
And the Democrat double standard, the DDS, nope, not going to happen anymore. You're going to go to jail.
Well,
and I think that's what has to be held.
Yes.
That's what has to be held. That's follow the law. Follow the law. That's what, it's simple. It's there. All we have to do is follow the rules that have already been written down and enacted and established.
Right.
And
that's all the more the point that this Hunter Biden pardon makes, because Joe Biden is clearly saying, I know the law is there, but it doesn't apply. And that's how they do things in China. They got a whole book of laws, and they only apply the ones they want to against the people that they want to apply them against to. That's how it works in a communist country. And that's what the Biden administration was moving us towards. And clearly that's at his heart, too. How about some of the others? We got Kash Patel, FBI. Ray is going to be out, it's looking like. And Kash Patel is going to be coming. He's going to be cleaning house there, too. Yep. I think cleaning house is going to have to happen everywhere, because the machine, the bureaucrats that are running the government and affect our lives more than some of the politicians do, they've got people in there that are entrenched that are really not doing things that they should be doing.
No.
They're doing the wrong things.
And then it's also the weaponization.
Yeah, of the FBI, along with Justice Department.
It was so egregious.
Yeah.
With Facebook, this, that. People knew how many people were hired that were internal from the FBI for like Facebook or these people. There was a lot of people, and it's like, why on earth are you hiring the highest level people secretly in this capacity? And it's to subvert democracy.
Yeah.
And everything they accuse us of doing is what they are doing.
Right.
And it makes me so upset. As a 32nd degree Knight Templar Freemason, like people in my lineage, we bleed, red, white, and blue. And it's absolutely abhorrent to see what people in power are doing, and it is corrupt.
Yes.
There's the one word, corrupt.
Yeah.
And I'm not making this up, and anyone who wants to take their head out of the sand, here it is for you to see it.
Yeah.
And you think I'm making this up? Just go look at the news.
Yeah, I think we're going to see, once Inauguration Day arrives in January, we're going to see, like you said, things are happening at lightning pace anyway, speed of light. With this PICS, if you have a fast confirmation process, then these guys get to work, and I think we're going to see some big changes quickly, and I think we're going to see big improvement quickly too. Let's talk briefly about energy. We've got Secretary of Energy, this guy Chris Wright.
That's a big one.
Yes, big one. Energy is huge because the cost of energy is what's crippling the economy. There are, I think, two reasons why we have inflation. One is it would be the classic definition of inflation that's caused by increasing the money supply. We got the Biden administration pumping dollars, printing money, putting it into the economy, and if there's no real growth in GDP to match that, you wind up with more dollars competing for fewer goods. If there's more GDP, the assumption is there's more produced goods, so you've got more competition, but you've got more goods, and so prices would stay relatively flat. But when you have a lot more cash out in the market than you did before, but the production hasn't increased, and you got that extra cash competing for limited supply, and economists would call that scarcity, you're going to see prices increase. So prices increase, that's classic inflation. But then we also have things that cause prices to increase that don't necessarily relate to an increase in money supply, and one of them is the cost of the supplies, in this case, energy. When we do all this green energy stuff, wind power and solar power, all these things, and
it's a farce.
It's a farce.
It's a farce.
These sources of energy, they may work to some extent, but they're much more expensive than the fossil fuels. Not even really, fossil fuel is kind of a misnomer, than the oil and the coal in the ground, not necessarily related to fossils, but we'll leave that be. To the traditional fuels that really are the reason we don't live in caves anymore, because there was energy available and there was an economy built around energy. So as the cost of energy goes up, cost of transportation goes up, which means the cost of all the products go up.
Yes.
So those are the two
it's diesel.
things.
The most important thing, Dave, is diesel.
Right.
So it's not like necessarily gas, this, that. No, it's the massive transportation of the huge amounts of products.
Right.
And so day one, Donald, I want you to write it down. We're going to turn the pipelines back up.
Yeah.
turn them back up.
Because that
want
source of energy.
Oil pumping. So as soon as diesel goes down, though, we want diesel to go down. Yeah. So the massive transportation of all the products, that's the main one.
Yeah.
And then soon, if you can do that on day one, and then I just hope it just, you're going to see it drop like to the floor.
Yeah,
hopefully.
we should see that
and
happen.
And then people will be able to, cost of everything else should drop, because the cost of transporting everything just went down. And so now we're going to be able to buy more stuff. You're going to be able to have your dollar go further. Either you buy the same amount and your dollar goes further and you have more left in your bank account, or you're like, oh, now I can actually get this and that too.
Right, which grows the economy.
The other thing, which helps everyone,
Yes, helps everything. My wife went shopping today. She came home, she says eggs were $4 a dozen. They used to be a lot less.
$1.99. Yeah.
Way less than that. Certainly eggs, she's taking care of buying all the stuff, so I don't do much grocery shopping anymore. But, eggs at $4 a dozen, I know that's a high price. And it's high for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons that all these prices are high is because of the cost of transportation. We did a big family trip this year. We drove out west. We have a camper. We drove out west. And you don't see it so much here on our congested roads in the Northeast. But if you get out to the Midwest, and you're heading across, you get across the Mississippi on some of these major roads, the volume of truck traffic is unbelievable, and train traffic too. There are massive trains, freight trains, that of course are diesel too, and they're pulling all these goods from the West Coast to the East Coast, maybe going back empty, but things are just moving everywhere. So the cost of transportation, as it relates to, as it's based on diesel fuel, is a huge component of our economy. So I'm hoping that Trump's going to make some big moves there too.
It'll happen day one. I think it's going to.
Yeah.
I think he's going to write. He's going to do an executive order day one. Pipelines are open. Drill, baby, drill. I think you're going to get that. It's going to happen day one.
I think we also have to stop the subsidies, because subsidies manipulate market prices. Subsidies for these alternate energies. Subsidies for electric cars, tax breaks for electric cars, that should go away.
Yep.
And then I think subsidies for wind and solar should go away too. And you know, years ago, we traveled across the country, going back to that story, and you're seeing the farmland, you're seeing the mountains, you're seeing all this beautiful scenery. Now in some of these places, you drive through there and you're seeing windmills. Windmills, windmills, windmills. They're ugly. They're ugly. Or you see solar farms. They're ugly. And I'm really hoping that we stop subsidizing this stuff so that we can make America beautiful again, and so that we can get our economy to grow based on good energy prices. I'm hoping we're going to see that. A lot of things happening on day one. We'll get together again. We'll do some more shows like this.
Yeah.
But things are happening so fast. Like I said at the opening of the show, it's only been like 4 weeks since the election. Today's the 2nd. Election was November 5th. So we're just about a month post-election, and the news cycle has not slowed down. A lot of times I think presidents-elect will not do too much too quickly. They slowly build their team, but Trump is building his team very, very quickly, and he's signaling his intention.
Yes.
And I think that this is what people voted for. This is what that landslide election meant, and it stands in such sharp contrast to the corruption that we're seeing in the Biden family and the poor leadership that we suffered through these last 4 years.
Yeah.
Dave, our time is up. It goes by really fast. Thanks again for coming in. We'll have you in. We're going to get your friend Greg in someday too, and we'll have a chance to have some more of these conversations. Thanks again for coming in. And folks, I want to thank you once again for tuning in. My name is David Schoneman. You've been watching Perspectives. I'm here with Dave Narkunas, and we're talking about what's going on nationally following this historic election. We usually talk about state and local issues, but it's fun to get involved in what's going on nationally, because that's where we're going to be seeing some huge, huge changes, especially here in New Hampshire. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.